Hello, ma'am. This is the second part of the video that we mentioned. Basically, this is where we show the OFDM that's been implemented. So, as I had mentioned earlier, we transmit through a radio antenna here and receive through this wire. The OFDM comes out of the analog output of channel 0 and is received with the analog input of the spectrum analyzer that senses the presence of the OFDM. So we have options to set the number of subcarriers for the OFDM. This LED, as earlier, will sense the presence of the OFDM signal, and this switch also will do the same operation that I had mentioned earlier. Say here we set the number of subcarriers for the OFDM. So initially we set it as 8, and through a switch here we can change it to 64 subcarriers, and the change will be evident when we run the simulation, run the code. Then all the rest is similar, and the sender frequency is 90 megahertz, and the span of the FFT is 100 kilohertz. And so now let's run the VI file. So once we run it, we see so we set it for 8 subcarriers. So here we see the OFDM signal with 8 subcarriers in it, and it's transmitted through the antenna and received by the wire. Now now we change the number of subcarriers to 64, and let's see what happens. So as is evident, we can see the number of subcarriers having increased, and now it's 64. Now as I move the receiver away from the antenna and closer and away from it, we can see the sensing being done of the OFDM signal. The LED blinks away and turns on and off depending upon the distance of the receiving wire from the antenna. So we have done the thresholding for the OFDM signal as well, and what we are trying to do now is to sense the presence of some kind of signal at a particular frequency, and sensing that, shift the OFDM signal to another one. That's the final thing that we are trying to do. So we have done this much, and to stop it, okay. So once you stop it, everything will close, and the test is done. Now the VI file for this is shown below. This is the transmission part, and this is the spectrum sensing part below. In this part, we'll transmit the OFDM symbols here from here, and we set the characteristics of the power level, number of samples, and the other hardware data acquisition parameters here. Through this, we transmit the OFDM symbols, and that is done, and the sensing is done separately through the spectrum sensing part here. The details of the implementation we'll send along with the report. Thank you, ma'am.